NGC 7401 on a chilly Wednesday night, the 4th of October, 10 o'clock in the evening. I've had to wait so that this 7400 series could get to a part of the sky where it made it worthwhile to actually try to document them. NGC 7401 is a galaxy in Pisces, magnitude 15, 1 by 0.6 arc minutes, a spiral with a lowercase a, 231 million light years distant, probably about 90,000 light years in diameter. It is 1 degree above the celestial equator, and I think it may be quite visible right at the very center of the screen. Now, you might have noticed that there was other galaxies in the field, and as a matter of fact, when I went to NGC 7402, it was just a click away to galaxy Pisces, magnitude 14.4, slightly brighter, 0.7 by 0.5 arc minutes, spiral of the lenticular class O, 215 million light years distant, probably about 60 to 70,000 light years in diameter. We are at 1 degree above the celestial equator. Let's hope we continue to find what we're looking for somewhere in the middle part of the screen as we progress through the NGC 7400 through 7449 series. NGC 7405, the galaxy in Pegasus, faint, magnitude 16, small, 4 by 0.2 arc minutes, spiral with some peculiarities. It's at plus 12.5 degrees in declination. Hopefully it's somewhere on the screen, not where I can see it right now, however. NGC 7406 is a galaxy in Aquarius. It's at minus 6.5 degrees declination. Magnitude 15, 1.1 by 0.6, so an oblate spiral with some peculiarities, a mere 71 million light years distant, which tells me it's probably no more than 30,000 light years in size. But there it is, and that's a very good view for a magnitude 15 galaxy. Very nice. Well, we're up towards the zenith right now, and I believe the scope is fully exposed at the lens. NGC 7407 is a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 13.1, 2 by 0.9 arc minutes, some 291 million light years distant, so it's larger than Messier 31, maybe 190,000 light years. Spiral with a lowercase c, it's at plus 32 degrees, and we're looking pretty straight up at that. Although I would expect the scope to be pointed to 45 degrees north in order to get a pure zenith presentation. Can't tell you whether it's on the screen, but I would expect so at magnitude 13.1, and you should see some of the extensions. Well, I do believe I saw this galaxy when I craned my head over to look at the screen. NGC 7409 is a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 15.6, 0.6 by 0.4 arc minutes, spiral of the lenticular class O with a bar, 296 million light years distant. I would say it's probably about 50 to 60,000 light years in diameter. It is at plus 20 degrees. A few stepper clicks away is NGC 7411, a galaxy in Pegasus. Magnitude 13.4, 1 by 0.9 arc minutes. It's an elliptical, 370 million light years distant. I would say that this one's about 100,000 light years across, as is our own Milky Way galaxy. It's at plus 20 degrees, and I have to tell you, I think this is one of the best nights I've had in quite a while in terms of sky transparency and darkness, although there still is a lot of water vapor in the air. NGC 7413 is a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 14.1, 0.7 by 0.5 arc minutes. It is some spiral of the lenticular class, so a fairly mature galaxy, 435 million light years distant, so it's probably about the size of our own Milky Way. It's at plus 13 degrees. I'm sure it's giving a decent view on the screen. A couple of stepper clicks away from NGC 7413 is NGC 7414. Galaxy in Pegasus, Faintest of the night, magnitude 16.8, small, 0.4 by 0.2, oblately presented spiral of the lenticular class, 446 million light years distant. This one's about 1/3 the size of M31, so it's about 50,000 light years across, but it packs some visibility, even though it's at magnitude 16.8, given its distance. We're at plus 13 degrees. We're still 5 minutes away from hour 23 and right ascension. Still in Pegasus, and still viewing galaxies, NGC 7415. Magnitude 15, pretty close to an edge on, 1.1 by 0.2 arc minutes. Should be quite visible as such, even though it's magnitude 15. Spiral, lowercase ab. This sweetie is 534 million light years distant, which puts it at about 180,000 light years in diameter. It's at plus 20 degrees in terms of declination. It'll be nice to see this one on the manana. I can't see it yet, though. Little off axis for the eyeballs. It's quite nice where I'm sitting when we drop south because I can really see the screen, and there's quite a nice little edgy-on galaxy there. This one's NGC 7416, a galaxy in Aquarius, magnitude 12.4, 3.2 by 0.7 arc minutes, spiral with a bar, lowercase b, 120 million light years distant. Puts it at a little larger than our own Milky Way galaxy. It's at minus 5.5 degrees in declination. Not bad. Culminating to the south right now, our first galaxy in Grus the Goose. NGC 7418, galaxy in Grus, magnitude 10.9, 3.8 by 2.7 arc minutes in size, football-shaped galaxy, spiral with a bar, a mere 63 million light years distant, so it's probably some 70 to 80,000 light years in diameter. This is deep south, minus 37 degrees, and there we are getting a good view, and the only reason it's possible is because these babies are culminating right now, a little about 15 minutes after 10 o'clock on the 4th of October. Enjoy that. You don't get too many views that clear that far south from Backyard John Day. NGC 7420 is a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 13.9, 0.8 by 0.6 arc minutes, a spiral with a lowercase c, 422 million light years distant, so it's probably a little larger than our Milky Way. It's at plus 30 degrees, and we may be getting just a hint of an obstruction from the roof tries overhead. So we're pushing it a little bit here in terms of time. That's there, 7420, magnitude 13.9. Well, we're once again back in Grus. NGC 7421 is a galaxy, magnitude 11.9, 2 by 1.9 arc minutes, a spiral with a bar, a mere 80 million light years distance. This is the furthest south we've gone, minus 37 degrees and 20 minutes. I am seeing galaxies up there. I'm not sure which one we're looking at here. I am going to just have to move on. However, once again, remarkably, minus 37 degrees. NGC 7422 is a galaxy in Pisces, magnitude 13.4, 1 by 0.8 arc minutes, a spiral with a lowercase b, 217 million light years distant. I would say it's probably about 75 to 80,000 light years in diameter. It's at plus almost 4 degrees, and we still haven't crossed the 23rd hour. We are pushing it a little bit here in terms of anything that's overhead. NGC 7425 is a galaxy in Aquarius, magnitude 15.9 by 0.6 arc minutes, spiral with a bar, lenticular, 323 million light years distant, probably a little larger than the Milky Way. It's at minus almost 11 degrees, and magnitude 15, I'm seeing something right about there, and that's pretty close to where I might expect it to be. We've turned the corner now on our way to 7450. This is NGC 7426, a galaxy in Lacerda. We're probably losing a little bit of aperture. It's almost straight overhead. Magnitude 12.3, 1.7 by 1.4 arc-minute elliptical galaxy, 242 million light years distant, so a little larger than our own Milky Way. It's at plus 36 and almost a half degrees. NGC 7427 is a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 15.4, face on 0.8 by 0.8. We're looking at a lenticular spiral here, and my God, this is the most distant galaxy we've turned up. That's 1.2 billion light years away. Magnitude 15.4. This galaxy is probably 300 to 400,000 light years in diameter. What an honor to be able to see this. NGC 7427 in Pegasus, plus 8.5 degrees. Astonishing. Hopefully it's visible on the screen. I think it is right about there. Wow. NGC 7428. Let's not let this be anticlimactic, however. Is a more neighborly galaxy in Pisces. Magnitude 12.5, 2.4 by 1.4 arc-minute spiral with a bar. 138 million light years distant, a little more than 10 times closer than NGC 7427. It's at minus 1 degrees, and we are still in the 22nd hour of right ascension. NGC 7430 is another galaxy in Pegasus. Magnitude 15.1, small, 0.4 by 0.2 arc-minutes. Spiral, 300 million light years distant, almost plus 9 degrees in declination. NGC 7431 is a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 15.6, a compact 0.4 by 0.2 arc-minutes. It's at plus 26 degrees. We may be losing some aperture on this one. NGC 7432 is a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 13.4, 1.6 by 1.2 arc-minutes. Elliptical, 340 million light years distance, probably about the size, slightly larger than Messier 31, the Great Andromeda Galaxy. We are at 2258 and plus 13 degrees. NGC 7433 is another galaxy in Pegasus. Far enough north, we may be losing some aperture. Magnitude 14.7 by 0.2. Spiral with some peculiarities, class P. 339 million light years distance, probably about 75,000 light years across. It's at plus 26 degrees. NGC 7434 is a galaxy in Pisces, magnitude 15.7. I do believe it's visible on the screen. 0.6 by 0.3 arc-minutes. Lenticular spiral O. 357 million light years distant. It's probably somewhere around 100,000 light years across, maybe smaller. Anyways, at minus 1 degrees, and we still haven't crossed the 23 right ascension hour time. Okay, we're back up in the northern Pegasus again with NGC 7435. We're blocking part of the aperture of the scope, so don't take everything with a grain of salt. Magnitude 14.2, NGC 7435. 1.2 by 0.7 arc-minutes, the spiral with a bar, 347 million light years distant, probably about 110 to 120,000 light years across. We're at plus 26 degrees. Just a click away is a neighboring galaxy. I'm waiting for data to come up. I believe it is NGC 7436A, magnitude 14, 2 by 2. It is an elliptical galaxy, 339 million light years distant, plus 26 degrees. Or it could be NGC 7436b, Galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 15, Egiani, 0.9 by 0.2 arc minutes, a spiral with peculiarities, 330 million light years distant, plus 26 degrees. They're in the same field. We should be able to pick them apart mañana. NGC7437 is a Galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 13.3, face-on 1.8 by 1.8 arc minutes, spiral with a small c, but it's got some a D attribute as well. 93 million light years distant, plus 14 degrees, and even now we're starting to go post culmination, which means we're going to start running into roof issues. And all this was driven by the fact that the battery needs to be charged in the camera after completing last night's studies. Well, learn to adapt. NGC 7440 is a Galaxy in Andromeda, and it is being almost half of the apertures being blocked. I'm not sure if it's visible up there, but I'm going to go ahead and call up the data. NGC 7440, our first Galaxy in Andromeda, and the data on that is magnitude 13.5, 1.4 by 1.1 arc minutes, spiral with a large bar, lowercase a, 259 million light years distant, and plus almost 36 degrees in declination. Yeah, I'm seeing we're only got about half the aperture, if that, on this particular study. NGC 7441, thankfully, is a Galaxy in Aquarius, magnitude 14.4, football shape 1.3 by 0.9 arc minutes, a spiral with a lowercase a, 199 million light years distant. We still haven't crossed right ascension 23 yet. We're at minus 7.5 degrees. NGC 7442 is a Galaxy in Pegasus, but fortunately not too far north. It's only at 15.5 degrees. Magnitude 13.3, face on 1 by 1, spiral with a lowercase c, 325 million light years distant, probably about 110 million light years in diameter, maybe a little less than that. So there is our view, and it should not be obstructed by the roof tri. NGC 7443 is a Galaxy in Aquarius. I believe it to be right there because it's edgy on. Magnitude 12.6, 1.4 by 0.5 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase a, 146 million light years distant. It's probably about 50 to 60,000 light years in diameter. It's almost minus 13 degrees. There's no obstruction here, although the scope's going to want to flip soon. NGC 7444 was in the same field with 7443. It's a Galaxy in Aquarius, magnitude 12.8, 1.7 by 0.6 arc minutes, spiral of a lenticular type, 136 million light years distant, almost minus 13 degrees in declination. Be interesting to distinguish the two of them. I do believe this Galaxy, NGC 7448 in Pegasus, is an old friend. Magnitude 11.7, 2.6 by 1.2 arc minutes. Spiral with a lowercase b and c, 101 million light years distant, puts it about 75 to 80,000 light years in diameter. It's at plus 16 degrees. We're not getting any obstruction here, and the Galaxy is quite obvious. Just look for that H2 region curl that I noticed last year on this very same study. NGC 7449 is the last in our series for tonight. However, it is also too far north. I will try to include it in studies tomorrow. Have to get an earlier start than the 10 o'clock I started tonight. Don't expect 7448 to be our Carpe Noctem. Let's go and see if we can't turn up at least the Triangulum Galaxy and potentially Messier 110 for that. If I'm not able to, Carpe Noctem. Here we're getting a fairly decent view of Messier 110, the satellite galaxy of Messier 31, the great Andromeda Galaxy. seem to be getting plenty of extension. Wow. Can give you the data on this, but it's part of future NGC series. I think it'll be something like 230 or 240 in the NGC series. Excuse me. So there is a very nice view. Why don't we have a look at the core of Messier 31? Here we see the core of Messier 31. It is slowly condensing in the field. What I really want to see is some extensions away from the core. The core we're seeing there is about half the brightness of the galaxy as a whole. It's about magnitude 3.5, which means most magnitude maybe add 0.8 to it, you get 4.3. Most of the light, so the core of the galaxy is roughly magnitude 4.3. There seems to be plenty of color in it, and I don't know why we'd be seeing color. I'm not seeing any instruction, but there can be reflected light off local street lights. It's of that amber color, so that could be an issue. Moving on. Now we can watch Messier 32, the other satellite galaxy of the Great Andromeda Galaxy, taking form on the screen. Very globular-esque, quite condensed. In fact, it's got a very high intrinsic brightness. About 8 arc minutes in size, but we're not seeing that much of it. Most of that luminosity is compacted right into the core and on to Messier 33. Our last view of the night, Messier 33, the Triangulum Galaxy. It's probably about a third the size of Messier, so about 50,000 light years in diameter. You can see the core, you can see some whirling extensions. This, like Messier 32, 31, 110, 33, is part of a future NGC series. Enjoy the view and carpe noctem. I'll give it a moment.